Imagine waking up one morning only to realize you don't remember a single thing about the woman standing in your kitchen, wearing your shirt, making your coffee, and smiling like she knows all your secrets. But here's the twist. What happened last night is about to change everything. This isn't just a story. This is a roller coaster of forgotten memories, unexpected desire, and a truth that hits harder than heartbreak. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. The aging espresso machine sputtered before giving a loud, shrill beep. Declined, the cashier announced in a monotone voice. The woman at the front of the line, perfectly styled blonde hair, an immaculate gold watch glittering under the cafe lights, went completely still. "Oh no, please, can you try it again?" she asked, her tone trembling as she dug frantically through her designer handbag. Behind her, Darius Mitchell shifted uncomfortably. His deep brown hands tightened around the wrinkled $20 bill in his palm as he watched panic sweep across her face. He recognized that it looked far too well. Just yesterday, he stood at a grocery checkout hearing the same cold word. Declined. He glanced down at his 20th, the last money he had. Enough for a couple days of food for him and his daughter Mara. The cashier exhaled impatiently. "Ma'am, there's a line." Before Darius even processed the decision, he stepped forward. "It's okay, let me take care of it." The woman turned as if startled out of a dream. Their eyes locked a moment too long, her lips parting. "That's incredibly kind, but I can't accept, please," Darius said softly, his baritone steady as he passed the bill to the cashier. "We all have rough mornings." It wasn't true. No one had ever done this for him. But if it eased even a fraction of her embarrassment, that was enough. She looked at him again, taking in the fatigue etched across his features, memorizing the honesty in his warm brown eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't know what this means?" Darius nodded. He ordered only a small cup of water. Coffee was no longer an option. His stomach ached from emptiness, but the gratitude in her voice filled something deeper than hunger. He turned to go until he heard, "Wait." "What's your name, Darius?" he replied. Darius Mitchell. A flicker of recognition crossed her face, real and unmistakable. You used to work at Apex Technologies?" Darius froze. "I did, until 3 weeks ago." "I see," she murmured, then continued more firmly. "Thank you again, Mr. Mitchell." He gave a polite nod and stepped out into the bright daylight. For more businesses to stop at, for more resumes to hand out, for more polite rejections waiting for him. What he didn't see was the woman still standing motionless behind the cafe window, her untouched latte cooling by the second. Alina Harper, CEO of Apex Technologies, whispered to herself. 6 months. And today I finally see him. With a shaky hand, she called her assistant. "Jordan, I need every document related to Darius Mitchell's termination. Emails, reports, footage, everything now." Her voice hardened. "Because the man I met today, the one who stayed late to help interns, who tutored the guards kid, the man who holds patents worth millions, there is no universe where that man walked away voluntarily." 12 blocks later, Darius reached home on foot, saving the bus fare. His landlord's warnings filled his phone 3 days until eviction. At night, he split 1 can of soup with Amara, acting as though he wasn't hungry. "Daddy, how come we don't have milk anymore?" she asked gently, her eyes so much like her mother's surge in his face. "We'll get some tomorrow," he said, forcing a smile he didn't feel. The next day blurred into job applications, closed doors, and a hollow echo of empty cupboards. By Thursday, he found himself staring up at Apex Tower, the place he'd mopped floors for 18 months, his stomach twisted from 2 days without food. He'd given the last spoon of peanut butter to Amara that morning. Inside, Alina Harper sat in her 5th emergency meeting of the week. "This is absolutely unacceptable," she said, voice cold with fury. "Roger faked the evidence," he said. "Up an innocent man," a young executive whispered. "Ma'am, we prepared reinstatement documents." Elena's stare burned. "You think handing him a mop again fixes this?" Then she saw his real personnel, file his degrees, his patents, his research. He invented a purification system that could save millions, she whispered, and we made him scrub toilets. Friday morning, Darius knelt in front of Amara. "Eat all your lunch today. Promise me." "Why, Daddy?" "Just promise." She nodded, her curls bouncing, though her eyes held too much understanding for a 7-year-old. When she left for school, Darius finally let his pride fracture. He joined the food bank line. The shame stung sharper than the hunger. Darius Mitchell. He turned. Jordan Webb, Apex's HR director, stood behind him, out of breath, sweating in a suit not designed for chasing people. "Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Harper has been trying to reach you. You haven't answered your phone." Darius pulled it out. Dead. The power had been cut off yesterday. "She knows the truth," Jordan said quickly. "She's spent all week digging. She hasn't slept since Monday." Darius blinked, disbelieving. "Harper, the woman from the cafe?" Jordan nodded. "Yes, that was her. When she realized you gave your last $20 to her after she allowed you to be destroyed, she broke down. She told me Find Darius Mitchell even if you have to search every block in the city. The drive back to Apex felt surreal. He knew every inch of the marble floor. He'd polished it countless times. Whispers followed him as security waved him through. The elevator climbed past the janitor level, past the office floors, straight to the top dot when the doors opened. Alina stood with her back to him, the skyline blazing behind her. "Do you know why I built this company, Mr. Mitchell?" she asked quietly. "I think I understand," Darius said. She turned the same woman from the cafe, but now composed, resolute. "You weren't some test," she said, stepping closer. "You were a reminder of what integrity looks like." Her voice quivered. "You gave me your last dollar, and I repaid you with injustice." She inhaled deeply. "My CFO disappeared after siphoning off $2 million. The board is threatening to remove me. My accounts are frozen." And in the chaos Sheen appeared. "A man we fired unfairly. A man who had every reason to walk away. Yet you didn't." Voice cracked. "For 5 nights I haven't slept. I dug through every email, every file, every second of surveillance footage." She met his eyes. "And you know what I discovered?" Darius didn't breathe. "That, when you handed me that 20 you hadn't eaten in 2 days, that you lied to your daughter so she wouldn't see the empty fridge. That this morning, for the first time in your life, you waited in a food bank line." Her fists tightened. "And all because Roger Brennan blamed you to hide his nephew's theft." She opened a file and played a video. 6 a.m. EST. 11:47 p.m. Darius's final shift. Roger entered the locker room, glanced around, then slipped the missing laptop into Darius's locker. He staged it. Alina said, voice sharp. Darius felt his knees weaken. "He framed me as yes, and he a thief. Roger's nephew. We have footage from the executive floor." She flipped through more files, videos, notes, records. She pointed to one. "You rebuilding the intern's presentation from memory. Clicky tutoring the security guard's son in calculus. Clicky fixing a ventilation system with nothing but a paperclip. Clicky leaving encouragement notes for the night crew. And giving your lunch to the veteran outside." Darius swallowed hard. "You were observing me. I was trying to understand you," she admitted. "A man brilliant enough to redesign our energy grid on a napkin." He hesitated, then finally said, "My wife Kesha passed away. After that, my mind shut down. I couldn't look at engineering without feeling her absence. Doing routine tasks was easier." Alina turned to the window. "My mother died when I was 15. I buried myself in work, because stopping meant sinking." She faced him again. "But you didn't sink, Darius. You channeled your pain into compassion. Everyone at the bottom here knows your name." Her voice softened. "That intern you helped, he runs our Pacific Division now. The guard's son. He got into MIT because of you." "I just did what anyone would," Darius murmured. "No," she said firmly. "You did what you would." She laid a folder before him. "Director of Sustainable Development. $150,000 a year. Benefits. Flexible hours for your daughter. A $50,000 signing bonus." Tears blurred his vision. "This feels like charity." "This isn't charity," she said. "This is restitution. And smart leadership. Your patterns could transform this company, this world. You're worth 10 times this offer." "What about Roger?" "Arrested this morning. His nephew too. Both facing charges." Darius's hands trembled. Asterisk, "I don't know if I can do it anymore to the equations. The building, the design." Alina stepped around the desk, took his hands. "Gently, then we'll go slowly. An hour a day. With a team. With support. Your mind works perfectly." It grew empathy. That evening, she insisted on driving him home. "I need to apologize to your daughter," she said quietly. "My company failed her father. That's on me." Her luxury car looked out of place outside his worn apartment building. The stairs creaked under their feet. Amara raced out of the neighbor's door, glowing with excitement. "You're early." "Who's?" The pretty lady Alina knelt. "I'm Alina. I work with your dad." "Daddy got a job?" Amara asked, eyes widening. "A very good one," Alina confirmed, glancing at Derek. "Because your father is remarkable." Inside, Alina noticed the tidy, bare living room, crayon drawings on the wall. "A single worn engineering textbook," Alina, Darius said softly, pulling out a faded notebook. "I want to show you something." He opened it. Drawings, formulas, inventions. "These were my projects before Kessia died. Low-cost solar panels, portable purification tablets, recycled plastic housing systems." Alina flipped through the pages, stunned. "These could change the world." Darius, "Money used to say Daddy was going to save the world," Amara added. Alina smiled. She was right. Over the next weeks, Darius started slowly. 1 hour a day, then 2, then the whole afternoons. Alina visited often. Not to supervise, but to sit nearby. "Learning from him. You don't need to check in," he said. "I'm not checking." She smiled. "I'm learning." "Learning what?" He asked. "How to rebuild after breaking. How to look at people instead of positions." Hope, fragile but alive, began to grow inside him. "This next section you wrote, Ass Meta. saying you were providing a rewritten version. I am rephrasing those lines too. Exactly as instructed, alright? Below is a completely reworked English version of that segment. It conveys the same events and feelings but uses fresh structure and wording, avoiding any overlap with previous phrasing. It also keeps a cinematic, voiceover rhythm. Darius looked at his daughter, then at the sketches spread across the desk, then toward the doorway where Elena stood smiling softly, like she was witnessing light return to a long dark home. Interlocking modules. Zero waste. Fully reusable, Darius murmured. He turned to Amara. You brilliant kid. He scooped her up and spun her around, both of them laughing, when he set her down. He caught Elena watching, eyes warm, open, reverent, like father, like daughter, she whispered. That night Darius didn't work because of pressure. He worked because his mind finally awakened again. Ideas spilled like water breaking through a dam. Elena stayed close, ordering food, refilling cups, offering small insights that reshaped the entire design. You studied engineering, he said. We gave an embarrassed little smile. Before business took over. Yes. And, I've been reading your patents for months. They're beautiful. Darius's eyes drifted to the photo on his desk. Kessia, her bright smile framed in light. Kessia said numbers could be beautiful. He murmured. She sounds incredible, Elena replied. She was, he said, then hesitated. She would have liked you. As a colleague. A friend. A friend. Elena echoed, a faint blush rising on her cheeks. 6 months later he unveiled his first major initiative, the Kit Mitchell project, modular homes for families priced out of the housing market. Amara's simple idea had grown into a system that could be built in mere days, at a fraction of the cost. During the launch, investors and officials filled the tent. Darius calmly presented the vision, though his gaze often drifted to Elena in the front row. Steady, proud, this project exists, he said, because someone looked past my failures and saw my potential, because falling isn't the same as staying down. He raised his glass. 2-second chances and the people who give them. The tent erupted in applause. Elena joined him, taking the microphone. Darius proposed something new for Apex. She announced a pathway for people rebuilding their lives. Caregivers, single parents, anyone whose story includes stopping and starting, will be the first major corporation to adopt it but not the last. She turned to him because, that's who you are, Darius. You repair the places where others break. Their eyes held. The room faded. A week later over pasta, Amara announced, Daddy's in love. Darius nearly choked. You smile when she texts, she said, and you wear your good shirt for her meetings. And she looks at you the way Mommy used to. The words hit him bittersweet, tender sweetheart. Mommy wanted me to be happy, he whispered. I know, Amara said calmly. She told me you had too much love for one little girl to carry by yourself. He pulled her close. When did you get so wise? Tuesday, she said seriously. Darius burst out laughing. Their shift from co-workers to something deeper happened, slowly and then suddenly. Late nights troubleshooting designs, Elena surprising Amara with Broadway tickets, Darius leaving Elena's favorite coffee on her desk always with a 20. Underneath as a private joke, Elena crying after a brutal meeting, and Darius simply holding her. Elena teaching Amara to code the way Darius watched them. Heart full and aching, they didn't label anything yet. Grief still cast shadows. Hope felt delicate. The confession arrived one Thursday. Darius had just pitched a revolutionary solar paint to the board. Too ambitious, one director snapped. No, Elena said calmly. His ambition is exactly what we need. Later on, the rooftop garden he designed, Darius approached her. Thank you, he said, for defending the project. I wasn't defending the project, she replied softly. I was defending you. Then she breathed in, steadying herself. I'm in love with you. The words trembled in the air. I've loved you since the day you handed your last 22 to a stranger. Since you chose kindness when resentment would have been easier. Dia crossed the space, cupped her face. I was scared, he admitted. Scared that loving again meant betraying Kesha. But love isn't finite. It doesn't replace, it expands. Kesha taught me how to love deeply. And that love didn't die. It waited. He swallowed it. Waited for someone extraordinary enough to carry it forward. It waited for you. It kissed her tender, sure, full of promise. So, is Elena going to be my new mom? Amara asked that evening, pencil in hand. Darius nearly dropped the dishes. Maybe let's try a few dates first, kid. Okay, she nodded. But wear the nice shirt. For the first time in years, Darius laughed without holding anything back. Now, rephrasing your second meta section as requested, a fully fresh version of that entire segment is below, still preserving the meaning and emotional arc, ensuring no phrases overlap, maintaining the cinematic narrative flow. For half a year, they went on what Darius stubbornly referred to as meetings instead of dates. Amara found this endlessly amusing. Daddy, since when did you get so clever? She teased. And since when did you ask? Tuesday, she answered. So, can I call her Mama Alina now? She added casually. We should probably ask her. I did, Amara said proudly. She cried happy tears. Darius blinked. When did you ask her? Last week, when you came home late. She told me she didn't want to replace Mommy. She just wanted to add more love. And I told her that was good because my heart keeps getting bigger. Darius hugged her tightly. Did I mention you're amazing? You can mention it again, she smirked. A year later, Darius stood in the same coffee shop where everything had begun. But this time the place felt transformed. A bronze plaque on the wall read, "Sometimes the smallest act of kindness triggers the biggest change," dedicated to those who give even when they have little. Every Monday, Darius handed the barista 5 crisp 20s. For anyone whose card declines, he said. Mr. Mitchell, the barista smiled. Yesterday a mother with 3 kids came in. Her card bounced. She almost cried when I told her you'd covered it. She left this note. Darius unfolded the trembling handwriting. To the stranger who paid for my coffee, you didn't just save my morning. You saved my hope. I used the money to print my resume. I have a job interview today. Thank you. Behind him, Elena wrapped her arms around his waist. The ripple effect, she whispered. It had been 6 months since their wedding, a small rooftop ceremony where Amara threw flower petals with scientific precision. Ready for today's announcement? Alina asked. They were about to launch the worldwide expansion of the Second Chances initiative. 300 companies had signed on. 10,000 projected opportunities for people rebuilding their lives. Ready, Darius said, pulling her close. He kissed Hearn in the same cafe where he once stood starving, holding his final $20 bill. The kiss that started a revolution of kindness. Mom, Dad, we're late, Amara shouted from the door. She was 10, now sharp, confident. Rating, and you promised I could present the youth mentorship section. Laughing, they took her hands and walked toward their future, toward a company that finally understood that the greatest investment wasn't technology, but people. The cafe door chimed behind them, the same bell that rang 3 years earlier. When Darius gave away the last 20 he had, behind him a man counted his last few dollars. Beside him, a woman whispered a desperate prayer over her card. The barista reached for the envelope. All 20s ready. The ripples kept moving. Because kindness isn't a transaction, it's an investment. One that pays in hope, healing, and rebirth. Love doesn't erase the past, it honors it. It builds something stronger on top of it. On the mantel at home, Kesha's photo sat beside their wedding picture. 2 chapters of the same story, woven by love. Because love doesn't divide, it multiplies. Darius still visits that cafe every morning. But now he doesn't count money with worry, he counts blessings with wonder. Every $20 bill he leaves is a tribute to the moment when, having nothing, showed him he still had everything to give. Rock bottom isn't the end, it's the foundation you rise from. Sometimes the hand that lifts you belongs to someone who needs lifting too. We rescue each other, one coffee, one kindness, one love story at a time. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs reminding. Your lowest moment might be the beginning of your greatest chapter. Second chances aren't about rising from ashes. They're about finding someone who sees your light when you can only see smoke. In the end, Darius didn't spend $20 that morning. He invested it in a future where kindness yields the highest return, where love expands instead of erasing, and where tiny human moments sparked massive change. Alina learned it too, that sometimes the person who rescues you is the one quietly drowning beside you. That true strength isn't flawless, it's honest. Together, they built an empire not of profit, but purpose. And they proved the most powerful mergers don't happen between companies, but between hearts that recognize worth where others see lack. The end.